Have you ever started a task knowing it matters, knowing it's connected to your dream, but still found yourself doing everything but that one thing? You clean the kitchen, you check your email, you scroll through social media, suddenly it's 8 p.m., it's time to start winding down for bed and the window gone. Let me be clear, that's not laziness, that's fear, that's overwhelm. That is internal resistance dressed up as busyness. It's one of the most common traps that high potential people fall into. Procrastination, it isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing everything except what will move your life forward. But today we're going to flip that. Because once you understand how to generate momentum on demand, you won't just take action, you'll become unstoppable. This isn't about hype.
No, it's not about motivation.
It's about building a system that works on the days when you don't feel like it. This is how you go from pause to power. Let's start with this truth. Most people act their way into a new identity. They say, I'm going to try to be consistent. I'm going to try to be disciplined. I'm going to try to write more, go to the gym, start the business. But more often than not, burnout hits because trying to be something is exhausting. Eventually, your willpower runs out and you go back to default. But what if you flipped it? What if instead of trying to become disciplined, you decided that you are a person that is disciplined? Think about it. If I were to make the statement, I am a writer, that's not a to-do list, that's who I am. Writers write. If you were to make a statement, I'm the person that follows through, the statement becomes your filter and your compass. James Clear said it best. It's one of the best quotes I've ever heard. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. But systems come after identity. It is your identity that fuels your decisions and your decisions that shape your future. So take a moment and write down 3 traits that you want to embody. Maybe you want to be more disciplined. Maybe you want to be more courageous. Maybe you want to be more focused. Once you get your list, make a decision that you are going to make decisions from that identity, not towards that identity. The second momentum hack is so simple that most people ignore it. Lower the bar. Well, that's it. Dude at Mission Growth done lost it. Lower the bar. I got to get up out of here. Who? Let me go see who else is on YouTube. Yes. Lower the bar. Don't aim to write the whole chapter. Aim to write 1 sentence. Don't plan to run 5 miles. Put on your shoes and step outside. The reason I say lower the bar is because your brain craves progress. And when it sees a win, no matter how small, it gives you dopamine, that reward loop. And once the loop starts spinning, momentum builds. So you might ask, well, what's the secret to creating momentum? The secret to creating momentum is starting and then celebrating micro wins out loud on purpose. I want you to remember this. The mind repeats what gets rewarded. So if you reward yourself every time you take a small step, those small steps become habits. Those habits create your future. So what aspect of your goal can you break down to its simplest form? I'm talking about down to where it almost feels laughably doable. Do it and then celebrate immediately. Let's talk about resilience, because at times there's a feeling where something is so big that you don't even know where to start. For this, I challenge you to the 3-minute rule. Can you commit to just 3 minutes? That's it. 3 minutes of effort, 3 minutes of movement, 3 minutes of imperfect, messy action. Here's the truth. You'll almost never stop at 3 minutes. Why? Because as Les Brown says, it is the start that stops most people. Starting is the hardest part. But once you begin, the brain catches on. Oh, we doing this. Oh, okay, let's go. And once your brain catches on, resistance starts to fade and you're in it, you're moving. Just start. You can always stop. You probably won't. Use this whenever tasks feel too heavy. Break the seal and allow momentum to take over. Most people think discipline is about willpower, but allow me to offer you a different perspective. Discipline is not about willpower. Discipline is about design. If you make distraction easy, you will always choose it. Conversely, if you make action easy, you'll lean into it. So the rule here is add friction to what slows you down, add flow to what builds you up. Examples of this are putting your phone in the other room when it's time to do something. Lay your clothes out the night before so when you wake up, it's easier to work out. Keep your journal on your nightstand so when you lay in your bed, you see it and you're reminded, oh, let me write something. Prep your workspace beforehand, the night before. Have everything laid out for what you need to do in the morning. When you get there, it's easy. There's less friction and you're going to do what you're supposed to do. Don't make yourself try harder. Set yourself up to succeed by default and not struggle by default. So take a moment and think, what in my environment is making my goals harder to achieve? Change starts with a decision. It doesn't start with a choice, because choice means pick one. It starts with a decision. I am going to change my environment, and I am going to set success up as a default mode. There is power in pre-deciding a thing. This might be one of the most overlooked power moves in personal growth. Pre-deciding, simply put, is making decisions before the moment comes. When your energy is low, your excuses are loud, and your comfort zone is calling you to come lay down. So what does pre-deciding look like? Tomorrow, I will wake up at 6:30 and journal for 5 minutes. Well, I'm gonna set this alarm and see what happens. Nah, baby, you ain't gonna do it. You already set yourself up to not follow through. It's pre-decide, not pre-see what happens. Another example, when I get off of work, I'm going to work out. You see how there's no debate in that? Pre-deciding removes the friction from in-the-moment negotiation because your feelings are going to speak up. Your feelings are going to speak when that alarm goes off at 6:30. Your feelings are going to speak when you've been working for 8 hours dealing with these knuckleheads. Oh, I'm sorry. When you've been working for 8 hours dealing with difficult people, but you promised yourself that you were going to work out. But here's the thing about feelings. You don't need to feel like doing anything. You don't need to feel like it. All you need to do is honor your decision. If you made the decision ahead of time, now following through is simply a matter of your integrity. Oh, because now we're going to talk about your character. Because all integrity is the integration of your words and your actions. Tonight, I challenge you to write down 3 things that you're going to do tomorrow. They can be small things. They don't have to be major. Treat them like appointments and do not renegotiate with yourself. As you're going about your days, don't chase motivation, create it. Motivation doesn't show up before the action. It shows up because of the action. I think I'll say that again. Rewind that. Motivation doesn't show up before the action. Motivation shows up because of the action. You think those that are successful feel inspired all the time? But they move even when it's inconvenient. And here's what's powerful, expanders. Action rewrites the story that you believe about you. If your story is, I never finish things, every time you follow through, even in the smallest way, you're chipping away at that lie. Momentum is the proof that you are not who you used to be. So today, take one action, even if you don't feel like it, and let momentum catch up. I read a story about a woman named Rachel. Rachel was in her 40s. She had a demanding job. She had a husband and she had 2 kids. But growing up, Rachel had a passion for music, kind of got lost in the sauce, as it does. But she had always said, one day I'm going to get back to music. Whenever my life calms down, I'm going to get back to playing. In her living room sat this beautiful upright piano. This thing was covered in books, picture frames, and unopened mail. Everyone has that mail spot in the house where you just drop it and get to it later, or maybe never get to it. Rachel's was the piano. And the piano became a perfect symbol of what happens when potential sits in pause. One day during a rough patch in her life, she had lost someone who was super dear, and that grief woke her up. Isn't it funny how life has a way of reminding you what matters? And she didn't have a full plan. She didn't feel ready, but she began to tell herself 5 minutes a day. That's it. She cleared the books off the bench. She opened the mail, threw out the coupons. And for 5 quiet minutes every night, she played her piano. At first, it was clunky. Her fingers were stiff. Her timing was off. But 5 minutes became 10. 10 became 30. 30 became an hour. And one night, her daughter walks in and says, "Mom, I didn't know you were that good." That single sentence did something to her. And a year later, Rachel started giving lessons to local kids. She started playing at her church. She even wrote a song to honor the person she had lost and was ultimately invited to play that song in front of hundreds of people. That one dusty piano became the starting line for a whole new chapter in Rachel's life. Not because she had time, not because she was ready, because she started. So let me ask you, what's the dusty piano in your life? What's the gift, the calling, the action you've been putting off until things feel perfect? You don't need a new plan. You don't need to wait for motivation. You just need to take the cover off, remove the junk mail, sit at the piano and start. Because momentum doesn't begin with a miracle. It begins with a moment. Let this be yours. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.